So, what's the deal with Bitcoin mining? Imagine Bitcoin as a huge network where everyone who uses it is like a tiny piece of a big, decentralized bank. But you might be wondering, where do these Bitcoins actually come from? Does this mean you can just fire up your computer and start generating free Bitcoin? And what about now? Is Bitcoin mining still a moneymaker? Stick around, and we'll dive into all these questions. Welcome to Whiteboard Invest, your #1 go-to source for clear and concise investing knowledge explanation. Here, we break down complex financial concepts using a simple whiteboard format, making learning about investing accessible to everyone. In this video, let's figure it out. What is Bitcoin mining, and is it still a profitable investment in 2024? Bitcoin was created to be a decentralized alternative to the traditional banking system. Instead of relying on a central authority, it lets people transfer funds from one account to another on their own. So, how does this work without a central authority? Well, in the traditional banking system, transferring money is straightforward. You just tell the bank to move $50 from your account to someone else's, and since the bank controls the ledger that records everyone's balances, it's easy for them to do it. The bank holds all the power, because they're the only ones allowed to update that ledger. But with Bitcoin, the challenge is different. How do you create a system where the ledger is decentralized? How can you let people update the ledger without giving them so much power that they could become corrupt or mess things up? The solution lies in Bitcoin's unique set of rules, known as the protocol. Think of it like a giant puzzle-solving competition. Here's how it works. Anyone who wants to help update the Bitcoin ledger, which we call the blockchain, can join in the fun. All they need to do is solve a complex puzzle by guessing a random number that fits an equation created by the system. Sounds simple, right? Well, all this guessing is done by your computer. The more powerful your computer, the more guesses it can make per second, boosting your chances of solving the puzzle. If you do manage to guess the right number, you earn Bitcoins and get the honor of writing the next block of Bitcoin transactions into the blockchain. Let's break down the Bitcoin mining process a bit more. When your mining computer finally comes up with the right guess, it gets to decide which of the currently pending transactions will be grouped together into the next block. This is your moment of glory because you've temporarily become the banker of Bitcoin, updating the Bitcoin transaction ledger, also known as the blockchain. Once you've created your block and found the solution, you send it out to the entire network. Other computers then validate your solution, and they update their copies of the Bitcoin ledger with the transactions you included in your block. Since mining is all about guessing the right number, each block ends up being updated by a different miner depending on who guesses correctly first. Of course, miners with more computing power have an advantage because they can make more guesses per second, increasing their chances of success. However, thanks to statistical probability, it's unlikely that the same miner will win every time. After your block is validated, the system rewards you with a fixed amount of Bitcoins as compensation for the time and energy you spent solving the math problem. Plus, you get any transaction fees attached to the transactions you included in your block. But really, the mining part is just a byproduct of the main goal, verifying transactions and maintaining the ledger in a decentralized manner. Now you might be thinking, cool, free money. How do I sign up? Well, it's not that simple. Satoshi Nakamoto, the inventor of Bitcoin, designed the mining rules so that as more mining power joins the network, it becomes harder to guess the solution to the mining problem. This means the mining difficulty adjusts based on the total mining power in the network. If more miners join, it gets harder. If many leave, it gets easier. This self-adjusting mechanism is known as mining difficulty. Satoshi did this to ensure a steady flow of new Bitcoins into the system, helping to keep inflation in check. On average, a new block is added every 10 minutes. Sometimes 2 blocks might be added back to back, and other times there might be a longer gap, but it averages out to 10 minutes. As you can imagine, this creates a kind of arms race, where everyone is trying to get the most powerful and efficient mining equipment as quickly as possible. Now, let's take a trip down memory lane and explore how Bitcoin mining has evolved over the years. Back in the early days, there weren't many miners around. In fact, it was just Satoshi Nakamoto and his buddy Hal Finney tinkering away on their personal computers, mining Bitcoin when it was still a baby. Imagine, in those early days, all you needed was your computer's CPU, its brain, to mine some Bitcoin. That's how simple it was because the mining difficulty was pretty low back in 2009. But as Bitcoin started gaining traction, people began looking for better ways to mine it. That's when they turned to GPUs, those special components originally meant for gaming, but turned out to be great for mining too. Around 2011, GPUs became the hot new thing for mining Bitcoin. They were like supercharged engines compared to CPUs, with one GPU doing the work of about 30 CPUs. But the quest for even more efficiency didn't stop there. Enter FPGAs, these nifty pieces of hardware that were even faster than GPUs, like speeding bullets in the world of mining. However, they were a bit tricky to set up and weren't as widely used as GPUs. Then, in 2013, came the big game changer, ASIC miners. These bad boys were specifically built for mining Bitcoin and nothing else. They were like mining machines on steroids, leaving CPUs, GPUs, and even FPGAs in the dust. From then on, ASIC miners became the go-to choice for serious miners. But hey, it wasn't all smooth sailing. Early ASIC miners were small fries compared to what we have now, and they quickly became outdated. The technology kept advancing at breakneck speed, with new and more powerful ASIC miners popping up every 6 months. It was like an arms race in the world of mining. Eventually, after about 3 years of this wild ride, things calmed down a bit. We hit a sort of technological barrier, and the pace of innovation slowed. But looking back, it's pretty incredible to see how far Bitcoin mining has come, from humble beginnings with CPUs to the powerhouse ASIC miners we have today. So, since around 2016, things have slowed down a bit in the world of new miner releases. But hey, don't worry if you're just stepping into the Bitcoin mining arena. It's tough out there competing against those big mining farms, even if you've got the best miner money can buy. That's where mining pools come in handy. Picture this. Miners team up and form what's called a pool. Basically, they combine their mining power to give themselves a better shot at winning. And if the pool strikes gold, so to speak, the rewards are divvied up among the members based on how much mining power each contributed. It's a win-win situation, really. Even if you're just a small-time miner with limited resources, joining a pool gives you a fighting chance to earn some Bitcoin. Sure, you might only get a piece of the pie, but hey, it's better than nothing, right? And guess what? There are loads of these mining pools out there today, each vying for the opportunity to mine Bitcoin and update the ledger. So no matter where you are on your mining journey, there's likely a pool out there waiting for you to dive in and join the fun. So you're probably wondering, is Bitcoin mining still profitable nowadays? Well, the short answer is probably not. But like with most things, the real answer is a bit more complicated. Let's break it down. First off, when you're trying to figure out if mining Bitcoin will make you some cash, there are a bunch of factors you need to consider. Let's dive into them real quick. Number 1, hash rate. This is like the horsepower of your mining setup. It's how fast your computer can solve the mathematical problems needed to mine Bitcoin. Think of it as the speedometer on your car, except instead of miles per hour, it's measured in things like MHS, GHS, THS, and even PHS. Number 2, block reward. This is how many Bitcoins you get as a reward when you solve a problem and create a new block in the blockchain. Back in the day, it started at a juicy 50 Bitcoins per block, but it halves roughly every 4 years. Right now, it's sitting at 3.125 Bitcoins per block after the latest halving event in 2024. Number 3, mining difficulty. This one's a bit tricky. It's a measure of how hard it is to mine Bitcoin, based on how much computing power is in the network. Basically, the more miners there are, the harder it gets. Number 4, electricity cost. Mining Bitcoin takes a lot of juice, literally. You're going to see a spike in your electricity bill if you're running a mining rig at home. And trust me, those machines can crank up the heat, so you might need some extra fans or air conditioning to keep things cool. Number 5. Power consumption. Different miners gobble up different amounts of energy. You'll want to know exactly how much juice your miner is sucking up before you start crunching the numbers. Number 6. Pool fees. If you're part of a mining pool, and you probably should be, the pool will take a cut of your earnings as a fee for their services. Number 7. Bitcoin's price. Nobody has a crystal ball, so it's tough to predict what Bitcoin's price will be in the future. But if you're planning to cash out your mined Bitcoins down the road, this is a pretty big deal. Number 8. Difficulty increase. This one's a bit sneaky. Nobody knows exactly how fast the difficulty of mining Bitcoin will increase over time. It's like trying to predict the weather 6 weeks, 6 months, or 6 years from now. And just because the price of Bitcoin might be low doesn't mean mining will be unprofitable. There have been plenty of times when mining was still worthwhile even when Bitcoin's price wasn't sky high. So, as you can see, figuring out if Bitcoin mining is profitable is a bit like solving a puzzle. There are a ton of variables to consider, and they're always changing. But hey, if you're up for the challenge, there's still a chance to strike gold in the world of Bitcoin mining. But hey, don't worry too much. There's a handy tool called a Bitcoin mining calculator that can help you out. You just plug in all those variables we talked about, and voila! It spits out an estimate of how much Bitcoin you might earn each month. Now, here's the kicker. If that calculator gives you a thumbs up and says you'll make some decent dough, then you're in luck. But if it gives you a big fat negative, well, it might be a sign that you're not set up for profitable mining. At the end of the day, using the calculator is like taking a peek into the crystal ball of Bitcoin mining. It gives you a good idea of whether mining is the right move for you or not. So if the numbers add up, go ahead and fire up that mining rig. But if they don't, well, there are plenty of other ways to get involved in the world of cryptocurrencies. All right, folks, that wraps up this week's episode of Crypto Explained from Whiteboard Invest Crew. Hopefully you've got a clearer picture of what Bitcoin mining is all about. It's basically the process of keeping track of Bitcoin transactions and earning some shiny new Bitcoins as a reward for your efforts. But hey, if you've still got burning questions or just want to chat more about Bitcoin mining, don't be shy. Drop your queries in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Oh, and if you're watching this on YouTube and you've enjoyed what you've seen, give that like button a little tap. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and turn on notifications? That way, you'll never miss another episode of Bitcoin Whiteboard Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Catch you later.